Before you take one more step, listen carefully. The pain that is sitting on your chest right now is not here to destroy you. It is here to introduce you to the version of yourself you kept postponing. When life hits you hard, the first feeling is not wisdom, it is shock. You wake up and suddenly the world feels heavier. The people who once clapped for you become silent. The doors that used to open now feel locked from the inside. The mind begins to speak in dark whispers. Why me? Why now? How much more can I take? And in that moment, many people make the same mistake. They think the hit is the end of their story. But the hit is not the end. The hit is the sound of life asking, are you truly awake? A tree does not discover the strength of its roots on a sunny day. It discovers them when the storm arrives without permission. A warrior does not discover his discipline when the path is smooth. He discovers it when the ground disappears beneath his feet. And a human being does not discover the depth of his spirit when everyone is kind, everything is easy, and every plan goes exactly as expected. He discovers it when life removes the comfort, removes the applause, closes the familiar road, and leaves him standing alone with nothing but breath. So when life hits you hard, do not rush to call yourself broken. A broken bowl cannot hold water, but a cracked heart can hold wisdom. The first thing you must do is stop fighting the moment. Most suffering does not come from the event itself. It comes from the war you create inside yourself after the event has already happened. Something goes wrong, and then the mind starts punching the wound again and again. You replay the conversation. You imagine different endings. You blame yourself, you blame them, you blame time, you blame fate. You sit inside your own mind like a prisoner who keeps building new walls. But understand this deeply. The moment has already arrived. Whether you approve of it or not, it is here. Whether you accept it or not, it is standing in front of you. You cannot defeat rain by shouting at the sky. You cannot undo a storm by being angry at the clouds. The wise person does not waste strength arguing with what has already happened. He gathers his strength by accepting the ground beneath his feet. Acceptance does not mean you are weak. Acceptance does not mean you agree with the pain. Acceptance means you stop bleeding energy into resistance. It means you look at the moment and say, this is where I am. Now what can I do from here? There is great power in that sentence. This is where I am, not where I wanted to be, not where I expected to be, not where others think I should be. This is where I am. And from this place I can still breathe. From this place I can still choose. From this place I can still rise. When life hits you hard, the mind becomes loud. It tries to drag you into 10 different fears at once. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I never recover? What if I am not enough? What if this pain stays forever? The mind takes one wound and turns it into 1,000 imaginary wounds. This is why you must return to the body, return to the breath, return to the one thing that is always happening now. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. Do not underestimate this. A person who can control his breath in the middle of chaos has already taken back the first piece of power. The breath is not just air. It is a bridge between the storm outside and the stillness inside. When you breathe with awareness, you tell the body, we are not dying, we are not finished, we are here. Life may hit your plans, life may hit your pride, life may hit your relationships, your money, your dreams, your confidence. But as long as you can return to one conscious breath, life has not taken everything. So pause, do not react from panic. Do not speak from the wound. Do not make permanent decisions from temporary pain. When the house is on fire, you do not decorate the walls. You first stop the fire. When the mind is burning, you do not solve your entire life. You first calm the flame. Sit still, even if your thoughts are shaking. Place one hand on your chest if you must. Feel the heartbeat. Feel the body. Feel the simple truth that you are still here. The mind will say, do something now. But the wiser voice says, first become steady. A shaking hand cannot hold a sword properly. A shaking mind cannot make a clean decision. When life hits you hard, many people run immediately to noise. They call everyone. They explain everything. They post their pain. They search for comfort in distraction. They drown the silence with music, scrolling, food, anger, or revenge. But pain does not disappear because you cover it with noise. Pain waits. It sits quietly beneath the distraction, growing heavier because it was never faced. The warrior does not run from silence, he enters it. Silence is where the truth becomes clear. Silence is where you stop performing strength and begin building it. Silence is where you hear what your pain is really trying to teach you. Maybe the pain is saying you gave too much of yourself to people who did not value your presence. Maybe the pain is saying you built your peace on something outside of you. Maybe the pain is saying you ignored the signs for too long. Maybe the pain is saying you were living in a version of yourself that had become too small. Do not fear these messages. They may hurt, but they are not enemies. A bitter medicine can still heal the body. A difficult truth can still free the soul. The second thing you must do when life hits you hard is reduce your world to the next right action. When everything collapses, do not try to rebuild the entire mountain in one day. That is how people become overwhelmed. They stand in the ruins of one chapter and demand from themselves the strength to write the entire book by sunset. They look at the broken pieces and say, "How will I fix my life?" That question is too heavy. It crushes the spirit before the spirit can even stand. Ask a smaller question. What is the next right action? Not the perfect action, not the action that solves everything, not the action that makes everyone understand you, just the next right action. Can you drink water? Can you clean your room? Can you send one message? Can you take a walk? Can you write down what happened? Can you apologize where you were wrong? Can you stop chasing someone who keeps showing you they do not want to stay? Can you sleep instead of destroying yourself with thoughts? Can you open the document? Can you make the call? Can you do one honest thing? This is how strength returns. Not in grand speeches, not in dramatic promises, not in waiting for motivation to arrive like a miracle. Strength returns through one small act of order, repeated in the middle of disorder. When a person is drowning, he does not need to understand the whole ocean. He needs to move one arm, then the other, then breathe, then move again. Life is the same. When the waves are high, do not try to command the sea. Move one arm, take one breath, choose one action. The mind loves intensity. It says, change everything, fix everything, prove everything, decide everything. But wisdom loves simplicity. It says, do this one thing with full presence. The next right action becomes a rope. You hold it, then another appears, then another. Slowly you climb out. Many people remain stuck, not because life hit them too hard, but because after life hit them, they stopped moving. They waited for the pain to disappear before taking action. But often the pain disappears because you take action. You do not wait to feel strong before acting strong. You act with discipline while still feeling weak, and strength follows. A person who trains only when he feels inspired will never become steady. A person who moves only when life is easy will never understand power. Real discipline begins when the heart is heavy and you still choose what is good for you. This is the hidden gate. When you do not feel like getting up and you get up. When you do not feel like speaking kindly and you choose restraint. When you do not feel like continuing and you take one small step. When you do not feel like believing and you still protect the little flame inside you. That is not ordinary. That is the birth of inner mastery. You must stop worshipping your feelings as if they are always wise. Feelings are real, but they are not always leaders. Sometimes they are weather, they pass through, they change shape. Anger says, destroy it. Fear says, run away. Shame says, hide. Sadness says, nothing will ever be good again. But the deeper self, the trained self, the awakened self says, I hear you, but I will choose what is right. This is not suppression, this is leadership. You become the leader of your inner world. If fear is present, let it sit in the room, but do not let it drive the vehicle. If sadness is present, let it speak, but do not let it write your future. If anger is present, let it show you where a boundary is needed, but do not let it burn down your character. When life hits you hard, your character is being tested more than your comfort. Pain will ask you, will you become bitter? Betrayal will ask you, will you become cruel? Failure will ask you, will you stop trying? Loneliness will ask you, will you abandon yourself? Pressure will ask you, will you trade your values for relief? Answer with action, not with words. Anyone can say, I am strong when nothing is threatening them. Anyone can say, I am peaceful when no one has disrespected them. Anyone can say, I have faith when life is giving them everything they requested. But the person who remains disciplined when the heart is wounded, that person has discovered a strength that cannot be purchased. The third thing you must do when life hits you hard is protect your inner environment. When people suffer, they often become careless with what they allow into their mind. They listen to voices that make them weaker. They return to people who confuse them. They consume endless stories of fear, comparison, and drama. They keep checking the same person's life, the same message, the same memory, the same wound. They think they are searching for answers, but they are feeding the pain. You cannot heal in the same mental environment that keeps reopening the wound. If you are trying to recover, you must become serious about what enters you. The mind is like a garden. If you do not guard the gate, anything will grow there. Old resentment, fear, envy, regret, self-pity, revenge, despair. And once these roots grow deep, you begin to think they are part of who you are. But they are not you. They are seeds you allowed to remain too long. When life hits you hard, do not feed the mind poison and then wonder why the heart feels sick. Choose carefully. Choose the conversations that return you to truth. Choose the music that steadies your breath, not the music that glorifies your wound. Choose the silence that helps you hear yourself. Choose the people who do not make your pain a performance. Choose the discipline that makes your future self respect you. Sometimes protecting your inner environment means saying no without explaining your soul to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Sometimes it means not answering the message. Sometimes it means leaving the room. Sometimes it means unfollowing the life that makes you forget your own. Sometimes it means admitting this person is not evil, but their presence is not healthy for me. There is maturity in that. You do not need to hate what you outgrow. The river does not hate the stone it passes. It simply continues moving. Protecting your inner environment also means watching the stories you tell yourself. After a painful event, the mind becomes a storyteller. It says, this always happens to me. It says, people never stay. It says, I am unlucky. It says, I am not meant for happiness. These sentences feel true because pain is speaking them loudly, but loud does not mean true. Be careful with the words always and never. They build prisons. This always happens. I never win. No one understands. Nothing works out. I am finished. These are not truths. These are wounds wearing the clothes of truth. Speak differently. Say, this happened, but it is not my whole life. Say, this hurts, but I am learning how to carry it. Say, I lost something, but I have not lost myself. Say, I do not see the path yet, but I can take one step. Say, I am not finished. I am being formed. The words you repeat become the walls you live inside. Build carefully. When life hits you hard, you must also protect yourself from the addiction to being understood by everyone. Pain often makes people desperate to explain. You want them to see your side. You want them to admit what they did. You want them to understand how deeply it affected you. But sometimes the person who hurt you is not capable of understanding the wound they created. Sometimes their version of the story protects their ego more than it honors the truth. Sometimes waiting for their understanding becomes another form of suffering. You do not need every person to understand your pain in order for your pain to be real. You do not need every person to validate your experience in order to heal from it. Some doors close without apology. Some people leave without explanation. Some chapters end with silence instead of justice. This is painful, but it does not mean you cannot move forward. Do not place the key to your healing in the hands of someone who may never return it. Take the key back. Your peace cannot depend on the maturity of another person. This does not mean you become cold. Coldness is not strength. Coldness is often pain pretending it does not care. Real strength is warm but boundaried. It can love without begging. It can forgive without returning. It can remember without living in the past. It can wish someone well and still choose distance. The fourth thing you must do when life hits you hard is turn the pain into training. This is the step most people avoid. They want the pain to end, but they do not want it to teach them. They want relief, but they do not want transformation. They want to go back to who they were before the hit, But sometimes life hits you because who you were before cannot carry where you are meant to go. The old version of you may have been kind but without boundaries. The old version of you may have been ambitious but without balance. The old version of you may have been loyal but without self-respect. The old version of you may have been hopeful but without discipline. The old version of you may have been loving but too willing to disappear for others. So life does not always give you what you want. Sometimes it gives you what awakens you. Do not waste the hit. Ask yourself, what is this training? If you lost something, maybe the training is detachment. If someone betrayed you, maybe the training is discernment. If you failed publicly, maybe the training is humility. If you were rejected, maybe the training is self-worth. If you are alone, maybe the training is self-connection. If your plan collapsed, maybe the training is flexibility. If you feel weak, maybe the training is patience. If you are tired of repeating the same pain, maybe the training is the courage to choose differently. Pain becomes powerful when it becomes information. Look closely, not with blame, with honesty. What pattern is being revealed? Where did you ignore yourself? Where did you give too much? Where did you accept too little? Where did you confuse attachment with love? Where did you confuse comfort with peace? Where did you confuse movement with progress? Where did you confuse being busy with being aligned? The answer may not be pleasant, but the answer may be the doorway. In the training hall, the same movement is repeated again and again until the body understands what the mind cannot explain. Life teaches in the same way. If you refuse the lesson, the pattern repeats. Different faces, different places, different seasons, same wound, same reaction, same suffering. But when you finally see the lesson, the pattern begins to break. You stop saying, why does this keep happening to me? And begin asking, what have I not yet learned? This question changes everything. It returns your power. It does not make you responsible for every wrong done to you. No. Some people are careless, some people are selfish, some people harm others because they have never faced themselves. But your healing is still your responsibility. Their behavior may have created the wound, but your choices will decide whether the wound becomes a prison or a teacher. Do not hand your future to the person who damaged your past. Train. Train your attention, train your reactions, train your patience, train your boundaries, train your ability to begin again. When life hits you hard, do not ask only, how do I survive this? Ask, how do I become more awake through this? A person who only survives becomes afraid of the next storm. A person who transforms learns how to stand inside the storm without losing himself. And this is where true power is born. Not the power that needs to dominate others, not the power that needs applause, not the power that shouts, proves, and performs. Real power is quiet. It is the person who was hurt but did not become cruel. It is the person who was abandoned but did not abandon himself. It is the person who failed but did not let failure become identity. It is the person who cried at night and still rose with discipline in the morning. Do not underestimate quiet victories. The world celebrates loud success, but the soul is built by silent battles. No one sees when you choose not to send the angry message. No one sees when you sit with your sadness instead of escaping it. No one sees when you choose sleep over self-destruction. No one sees when you return to your work with a broken heart. No one sees when you forgive yourself for not knowing better before you learned the lesson. But these moments matter. They are the stones of your inner temple. Every time life hits you and you choose awareness instead of panic, a stone is placed. Every time life disappoints you and you choose discipline instead of collapse, a stone is placed. Every time someone misunderstands you and you choose peace instead of performance, a stone is placed. Every time fear rises and you still take the next right action, a stone is placed. One day, you will look within and realize you are no longer living in ruins. You have built something sacred out of what tried to break you, but you must be patient. Pain makes the mind demand speed. Heal now, understand now, replace what was lost now, become strong now, but anything deep takes time. The bamboo spends years strengthening underground before it rises visibly. The seed does not become a tree because someone shouts at it. The wound does not become wisdom because you rush it. Healing is not a race, it is a return. Some days you will feel strong, some days you will feel like you are back at the beginning. Do not let this discourage you. The path is not always a straight line. Sometimes the same pain visits again, not because you failed, but because a deeper layer is ready to be released. Let it move through you. Do not build a home for it. There is a difference between feeling pain and becoming pain. Feel it fully, but do not take it as your name. You can say, sadness is here, without saying, I am sadness. You can say, fear is here, without saying, I am fear. You can say, this is heavy, without saying, I cannot carry it. Language matters. Awareness matters. Distance matters. You are the sky. The emotion is weather. The storm may cover the sky, but it cannot become the sky. Remember this when the mind is dark. Remember this when you wake up tired. Remember this when the memory returns. Remember this when you see others moving forward and you feel left behind. Your path is not late. Your path is yours. Comparison is another wound many people place on top of their pain. Life hits them, and instead of healing, they look around and ask, why is everyone else happy? Why is everyone else successful? Why is everyone else loved? Why am I the one struggling? But you do not see the full life of another person. You see the mask, the moment, the chosen picture, the surface. You compare your private pain to someone else's public smile, and then you call yourself behind. This is not wisdom. Every soul has its hidden battles. Every house has rooms visitors never see. Every face has tears that dried before morning. Do not measure your healing by someone else's appearance. Return to your breath. Return to your next right action. Return to your inner environment. Return to your training. These 4 things are enough to begin again. And when you begin again, begin quietly. Do not announce every change. Do not seek applause for every step. The seed does not make noise beneath the soil. It simply works. Let your healing be like that. Quiet, deep, real. People may not understand your silence. Let them misunderstand. People may expect you to remain the same. Let them be surprised. People may return when they see your light again. Let your wisdom decide who enters. This is important. When you rise after being hit hard, some people will be attracted to your strength, but they were absent during your breaking. Do not become bitter, but become discerning. Not everyone who claps for your comeback deserves access to your heart. Some people love your light but do not respect the fire it took to create it.